Welcome to English class. Today I am going to teach you English of a Standard 7, Section 1, Uncovering the Ghost of Nancy Drew. It was written by Pamela Liboni. You also take a test Discovering the Ghost of Nancy Drew. Let us start our lesson. Uncovering the Ghost of Nancy Drew. Have you ever read a Nancy Drew book? If you recall, Nancy Drew is a girl detective in an American mystery fiction series created by publisher Edward Stratemeyer in 1930 as the female counterpart of his Hardy Boys series. Who was Nancy Drew? She was a detective of American mystery of a fiction series. And who actually wrote the Nancy Drew books remained a mystery still. But it was a great mystery or a secret. Who wrote Nancy Drew's book? What would you do if you discovered a secret message scribed inside a library book? Scribed here means written quickly. Perhaps a person did not have much time. That is written quickly a name in the library book. What if it was a clue to the mystery you are trying to solve? That you say a clue. It's a clue here means a piece of information to who wrote this book instead of Nancy Drew. 1913, a young library worker named Geoffrey Lapin discovered something mysterious about a favorite book detective. Who was a Geoffrey Lapin? He was a young library worker. He discovered something about this book, Nancy Drew. Library records stated that no one knew who had written the stories about her. Now here, who wrote the stories about Nancy Drew? Who was the author? That is the question. The author's name on the books read Caroline Keene. അപ്പം ഓതേഴ്സിൻ്റെ നെയിമിൻ്റെ സ്ഥാനത്ത് എപ്പോഴും എന്താണ് കരോളിൻ കീൻ നെയിമാണ് എഴുതിയിരിക്കുന്നത്. ബട്ട് സം പീപ്പിൾ സെഡ് ദർ വാസ് നോ സച്ച് പേഴ്സൺ. ബട്ട് സംബഡി സേസ് ദാറ്റ് no person like Caroline Keene wrote this book. The only printed fact Geoffrey could find said that Geoffrey, who was a librarian, he said Caroline Keene, a real name unknown. But who was the real name of Caroline Keene? That was not known. Geoffrey found a clue, a message inside a Baltimore library book. Then one day he found a clue inside the library book. Right next to the name Caroline Keene, someone had penciled in another name, Mildred Rhett. Then another name was written on the instead of that on the right side of the Caroline Keene, that is a Mildred. Next to that person had written another clue. See American Women 1939-14. Another clue was written, that is you see the American Woman, that is a book in 1939-40. Who was Mildred Rhett? Then another question, that is who was this Mildred? It seemed as if Geoffrey old chum Nancy Drew was whispering to his ear. That who was this Mildred? He was a Geoffrey's chum here means a friend. And he had to solve this mystery. He wanted to solve this mystery, Mildred. Quickly, he located a book, American Women. Then he found that book, that is American Woman. What he found there must have made to catch his breath. What is the meaning of catch his breath? Stop breathing for a moment because of surprise. എന്തോ അതിശയം കൊണ്ട് പെട്ടെന്ന് സ്തംഭിച്ച് നിൽക്കുക, അതിനെയാണ് catch his breath. And someone named Mildred Benson, her married name, had written more than 130 children's book. Mildred written about a 130 children's book, and she had used pseudonym. Pseudonym means that is a name used by somebody, especially a writer, instead of his or real name. The real name മറച്ചു വെച്ച് മറ്റുള്ള ഒരു പേരിലറിയാം. അതായത് മലയാളത്തിലൊക്കെ പറയും തൂലികാനാമം അല്ലേ, pseudonym. And was Caroline name, one of made up author name she used. Then it was Caroline was such a pseudonym. If so, why would she hide her true identity? Why he hide her identity? Identity here means who is the person? Real person was who? That. And what would Nancy look for the next fingerprint? Then another thing he wanted to look for, that is she wanted to know about the fingerprints. The author's writing style is her like her fingerprints. She couldn't hide her style. But author's writing is like of Nancy Drew's writings. That is her handwriting. And so no one else could duplicate it exactly. Duplicate it exactly here means write exactly like the original writer. അതായത് ഒറിജിനൽ റൈറ്റർ എഴുതുന്ന പോലെ തന്നെയാണ്, പക്ഷേ റൈറ്റിങ്, പക്ഷേ പേര് മാത്രം മാറ്റമാണ്. And if Geoffrey found Mildred's other books, he would compare them with Nancy Drew's book. Then if he found the Mildred's real books, and we can compare it with Nancy's book. And combining through antique stories and mystery bookshelves. Antique stories here means antique stories, that is a shop that sells things that are old and often valuable. പഴയ ബുക്കുകളൊക്കെ വിൽക്കുന്ന കടകൾ, അതാണ് ആൻറ്റിക് സ്റ്റോഴ്സ്. മിസ്റ്ററി ഹിയർ മീൻസ് that is mystery no musty here means smelling damp and unpleasant because lack of fresh air. അപ്പോൾ അവിടെയുള്ള that smell so damp, that's smelling damp, that is musty. Geoffrey said he had truly found a gold mine. Every book he read Mildred was filled with the word pictures similar to those that read Nancy's book. അപ്പോൾ മാൽഡ്രഡിൻ്റെ ബുക്ക് വായിക്കുന്നത് നാൻസി ഡ്രൂയുടെ ബുക്ക് വായിക്കുന്നത് പോലെ തന്നെ സിമിലർ. സീക്രട്ട് പാസേജ് വേസ് ആൻഡ് കൺട്രി റോഡ്സ്, റോഡ് സ്റ്റേഴ്സ്. റോഡ് സ്റ്റേഴ്സ് ഹിയർ മീൻസ് that is a car with no roof and 2 seats. That road stairs, and wound their way to their books, and he found just as they did popular series. That is, these writings were like Nancy Drew's writing, like passageways, then country roads. All these are depicted in this series also. It was as if Nancy was having adventure under the name other characters. He was also wanted to having adventure with these characters, and Mildred had written those adventure using different author names. But why Mildred also wanted to written these adventures? Because of he also used the different author's name. For what? That is the question. So you read this well and studied it well. Okay.